So in this podcast, I'm going to be going over JackReacher book. It's called Killing Floor. It's the first in a ginormous series, almost 25 books by Lee Child. I got into this book because I watched the JackReacher movie with Tom Cruise, and I loved the movie so much I needed more of this character. It was the same way I felt with John Wick, that I just needed more of that character, more of that lore, because Jack Reacher's universe was so interesting. And so I picked up the first book right away. I didn't even know it was a book series after I watched the movie, but I was really excited to find out because I just wanted more of this character. And after doing so, it was just awesome. I mean, the character design is flawless, the story is interesting, and it's probably my favorite book to date that I've ever read. And I mean, I haven't read a lot of books in the past, but I'm recently beginning into reading for fun. And this is definitely the right series for me because it's very action packed, like those movies I like Die Hard, like the Jack Reacher movie, like John Wick. It's just action packed, mystery, fun, and the character design of Jack Reacher is very uncommon to see because it's a design that you know he's gonna win, you know he's unstoppable. Just watch how he does it, and that's basically what the books are. Because the first book, unlike the rest, is written in first person. You get to see his perspective. And, for example, the first scene are these cops that walk into the diner over there to arrest him. It's unwarranted. He didn't do anything. But you see his reaction. You see how he examines the situation, how within seconds he's able to figure out how he's going to defeat these cops if he wanted to. So you're seeing like, oh, I could just in a very precise way, it's described how you can take the cop's gun and turn it on them and win the fight. But he's like, I'm not going to. It's not worth the struggle. So he's so powerful and unstoppable. So it's really cool to see how he gets over these crazy scenarios. So it's not more of like the physical fighting in this book isn't nerve-wracking because you're scared for the character. It's more like the mystery. You're just wondering he is. When there's downtime, when he's taking a break from the mystery to eat and he's contemplating what's going on, because it's a big mystery in this book, you kind of feel what he feels, and that's what I like about it. Is I didn't think you can pull off a book that has an unstoppable character as the main character and still have an ending like that he's going to win. Because why read all these books if you know he's going to win? But it's because you don't know how he's going to win, and you just don't know all the plot twists that are going to be in the book. And I realized there are a ton of them in this book alone. I mean, there's enough plot twists in this book for I bet the rest of the books. But that's what I like about Lee Child now is he's just so in depth, and I'm not sure how he knew all this information, but even things like when he meets a military guy, he must have done a lot of research because every single situation is so thought out and in depth. So the movie is great, the book is great. Very in-depth, this awesome mystery. Starts out with murder that he's accused of, even though he wasn't in the town at the time. He just wanders. He wanders town to town for years, and eventually he came here, and they thought he murdered somebody or a few people. So, but as soon as that happens and he clears his name, it gets personal, or he's dedicated to figuring out what really happened because at this point he's been so involved already. He just needs to know what's happening. And he's an unstoppable force. That he's been using a few friends from that local department who he can tell have the enthusiasm he has and aren't corrupt, unlike other cops in that place. And so that's the best part is that mystery aspect. Themes in this book that are I don't know if there's a ton of themes. I would say the main one is kind of like bravery and getting over your fears because a lot of times in this, because this is the first person book, you see his thoughts, and a lot of times he's talking just to the reader. And there's some really, really good quotes on him just telling the audience how to not back down in rough situations. And I think one of the best ones is a paraphrase of, trying to think of it, he says, there's going to be a lot of situations and you're let's say you're a piece of coal, there's going to be a lot of situations that just hit you hard and they're gonna make you want to crumble. But are you gonna crumble, or are you gonna take that pressure and turn yourself into a diamond? And that's just one of those really cool quotes that shows you how the Jack Reacher character's been through a lot, and he's kind of just using that to teach other people and using it to his advantage in all these mysteries and fights. And it's a lot of fun to read. It's one of the most entertaining books I've read. Even the parts of the book where it's just quiet and he is with maybe one of the other cops, and they're literally having dinner, and he's like, I need to get rest. I need to think about what's going on, calm down, get my adrenaline to come down, and rethink the situation. Even that's entertaining because you get to see him develop, not in like action. A lot of movies will skip that. They'll just go action to action to action to action. You don't get a lot of character development because it's just intense. But what's nice about these books is you get to see him all the time. So you really are in the situation with the character, and that's what I love about it the most. And yeah, that theme of bravery, I think that's just the main one that we see here. Would I recommend this book? 100%. I think the majority of people will be interested in it. If you're not like an action person, I wouldn't recommend it. But if you're action mystery, and you like those action thriller movies, this is the book for you. And it just takes those awesome movies or that kind of design and puts it into something way more complex and interesting. It's gonna be really hard for me to watch boring action movies with no character development now that I know that something like this exists, where there's tons of character development and the mystery is like 10 hours longer, if depending on how long it takes you to read. You just get a lot more out of it, and I think that's the best part about the Jack Reacher series. And that is my personal review and the themes and my recommendation for Jack Reacher, The Killing Floor by Lee Child.